this is going to be a short introduction, and I want to learn the Torah specifically as opposed to other Sifrei Halacha. And the Beis Yosef is in his introduction explains why. Up to this, his introduction is very long, so obviously not going to look at the whole thing. We only look at part. He describes the difficulties of if you want to paskin a shaila, you have to go through all the Gemaras and you have to know where they all are, and you have to look at the Rambam, but the Pasak might not be like the Rambam, so you have to look at the Rif and the other. And he goes through all the various dozens of codes and the pluses and minuses with each of them. And he says, Alken, therefore, Ani Hadal, I the poor one, Lufe Yosef, among the Talmidei Chachamim, Yosef ben Efraim ben Yosef, Karu, by the way, and the reason you know it's Karu, it's a Ladino name, and you see the two chicks before the Vav, that tells you the last Vav is U and not O. And I learned this when I was flown to Italy to serve on a base, and I don't remember the city, but the Rav of the city was a Yosef ben Ephraim Karu, and I mispronounced the name the first time, like all Ashkenazim do, or those people that don't speak Ladino, and he corrected me, and he was a ben Archaben. So, he says, Nisi Lashem Tzvakos, I am zealous for the Lord God of hosts. Vena'arti Hatzni Leskel Hamesila, I am going to clear up the pathway. V'samachti Chaber Sefer Kowel Kol Hadinim Hannohagim, I wanted to write a sefer that would have all of the halachos that are currently relevant. Bebir Shorashehem, Motzaehem, Me'agmora, Ad Chilukei, Svaros Poskim, from their roots and their sources in the Gemara and all of the different opinions among the poskim. Ish lo Na'der, I don't want to leave anything out. Lo Raisi Lasso Sefer Zeh חיבור בפני עצמו. I didn't want to do this as an independent work. כדי שלא אצטרך לכפול ולכתוב דברי מי שקדמני. I didn't want to redo the work of those people that preceded me. ולכן, therefore, הסמכתי לסחו לאחד מהפוסקים המפורסמים. So I wanted to put it on one of the very well-known Sifrei HaPoskim. Ve'aladati lesamcho l'sefer Rambam. First, I decided to write on the Rambam. Liot haposek hiyotim meforsam b'olam. He is by far the world's greatest, most well-known posek in the world. V'chazarti, but I retracted. Mipnei she'eno mevi elas svara achas. He only brings one of the opinions. V'isi tzorech larich velekhtov svaros shara poskim, and I had to go and write the logic of all the other poskim, v'tamam, and their reasons. By the way, that we do have the sefer, right? It's the Kesef Mishnah, right? But he's saying here, it didn't really work. He has to start over again. Most people that wrote a sefer that was still studied 500 years later wouldn't call that a failure. What?
But it's different, the Beis Yosef versus the
I understand, but he says he originally wanted to write this on the Rambam, but it didn't work. V'lechen hismachti l'samcho l'sefer arbiturim. Therefore, I decided to put it on the arbiturim. Shechiber harav Rabbeinu Yaakov ben Harosh, the Rav Rabbeinu Yaakov ben Harosh, ki hu kolel rov deos haposkim, because within the sefer, the Torah itself, he includes most of the opinions of the poskim. Meaning, I don't have to go, and there's also this one and this one and this one. He certainly the opinions, they're not a das yachid unless it's a very great person like the Rambam or Rashi or something like that is a das yachid. He brings all of these opinions, and therefore it's easier for me when I'm writing on this to include all the opinions, explain where they come from, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I can, let us say, deal with them all in an organized way to come to a halachic conclusion. By the way, the Beis Yosef is a massive work, all right? And he realized once it was done that people couldn't necessarily review it regularly. So he decided to write a short version that would just be the Piskei Halacha coming out of the Beis Yosef, and that is the Shulchan Aruch. And he writes that if you do 48 simanim one day and 49 simanim the next day, right, that every 30 days you will be able to review the entire Shulchan Aruch, so that your learning will always be fresh. And of course, there's a thing, and I think it's in the Tosefta, about if you don't review something in a month, it's like this. In 2 months, it's like this. By 12 months, if you haven't seen it in 12 months, it's completely gone. It's like there's nothing there at all. So
if we cut it down to 4.8 on a daily basis, what you're saying is it might as well. We're not going to remember anything by the time to see it again.
So therefore, I made a quick version that
That's how we did. That's why they cut it down to the Kitzer Shulchan Aruch after that.
Yeah, there's a story that is not true, by the way, that a very great man, Rav Avram Danzig, wrote a great sefer, and he was trying to figure out what to call it. And he said there was once a great man who wrote a great sefer called the Shulchan Aruch, and a very bad man, I don't believe he ever said that, wrote a very bad sefer called the Kitzer Shulchan Aruch. I don't want anyone to ever be able to do that to my sefer. What will I call it? Chai Adam. No one will ever write the Kitzer Chai Adam. Having said that, someone did write an English book called the Kitzer Chai Adam. I felt it was, there's something missing there. What? Yeah. Anyway, all right. This is the Hakdama to the tour.